Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to yet another photo mode tutorial. Today we are going to be checking out Assassin's Creed Shadows running on the PlayStation 5 Pro on fidelity mode or graphics mode. And we're going to be taking advantage of this moment. As you can see, we are in the winter time. It's foggy, it's looking misty and grim, and Niue is looking great. Now guys, this game is absolutely stunning, but today we're going to be focusing on the photo mode, and I just wanted to showcase to you guys how to take some really nice photos. So to begin this tutorial, we're going to be checking out what the features of the photo mode are, okay? Because every single game has different photo mode features, and this game is pretty simple, I'm going to be honest with you. But without further ado, let's get straight into this. So this location that I found in Assassin's Creed Shadows is actually really stunning. I don't know if you wanted to check out where this is, but it's just right where it says Wakanora Bay. Oh man, I'm butchering the name. It's just this whole line right here. It's a very long lake. There are some really intriguing scenery just right here, and I've taken some of my photos previously with them. You can probably see them on the screen right now. But honestly, it's a really nice area, and I really wanted to showcase it off and take some photos. First thing we're going to do is obviously press L3 and R3, but first of all, let's find a nice location. All right, so let's just maybe go right here. Okay, this bush, you know, just to kind of start off the tutorial. All right, oh, in fact, you know what, let's move up a little bit and let's just get like an empty section here so I can showcase the features of the photo mode. So if we press L3 and R3, okay, it will freeze the game and we're going to go straight into photo mode. Now the first thing you're going to see is the menu on the right hand side, and in the middle you're going to see two buttons that says take photo and preview. Now if you press X, it will take the photo and upload it onto the Ubisoft servers. You can do that if you want to, but for me, I'm more of someone that just likes to press the capture button on the PlayStation DualSense controller. So on the right hand side we have four sections. It says camera, and then on the bottom it says camera roll, focal length, cycle grids. Now cycle grids is very important, and I want everyone to be taking advantage of this. So by default it's going to show you rule of thirds, and that's going to give us the four different lines, okay, two horizontal and two vertical. This is a great way to kind of line up your shot, okay? And then you can skim through them and go to phi grid. I'm not too sure how you pronounce that one, but I've never heard of this one. We have symmetry, which is good. You got Fibonacci spiral. This is completely new to me. We got golden triangles, and then we got rules of thirds. And now if we press R1, you will get access to lens. Now on lens, you can see that there's depth of field, which is currently off at the moment. You can turn it on. We got aperture, which you can, you know, change the blurriness of the image, like the backgrounds and such. You got focal distance, okay, so you can change where the blurriness is. And we also have autofocus. All right, now autofocus is actually pretty decent, especially for like portrait photos. If I was to zoom straight into Niue, okay, we can just press autofocus and it will automatically focus onto Niue's face. And then of course we have the classic film grain. You can turn that on and you can max it out if you want to, if you want the most amount of grains. This is really effective depending on the type of photo you're trying to take, but we'll dive into that later on. Now if you press R1, we're going to go straight to filters. We've got FX filters, which is new. We've got filters, brightness, exposure, temperature, tint, saturation, contrast, okay? FX filters is something that affects the actual image itself rather than just changing the colors. So if we was to turn this on, it's either going to make it into a black and white sort of noir look. Then we have the Animus look. So if you want the classic sort of photo, if you're in the Animus, this is really good. I do love this effect. And then we also have the ink effect, so it's kind of like a old school like Japanese scroll. So if you wanted something like this is actually a really effective filter. We got vintage, which is again, you know, making it into an old school effective way of creating a photo, kind of like a, what do you call it, like a coffee stain. And then we have the red dragon, which is one of my favorites, but at the moment, because we're in the winter time, it just doesn't look as good. And then we have off. Now on filters, we have grayscale, we got cold, we got warm, which actually looks pretty decent. We got sakura, we got contrasted, and we have off. All right, and then of course with the brightness controls and exposure modes, we can change the way the image looks, and we can control it as well. And then if you press R1 again, we're going to get to decorations, which is Vignette. You can turn that on. You can make it as intense as you want to, change the size of it. I'm not the biggest fan of vignettes, so yeah, it's up to you guys if you want to use that or not. We've got frame as well. Now the frames on this game are pretty whack, if I'm being honest with you. I'm pretty salty because it doesn't have the 21:9 frame, which is such a missed opportunity for a game that is very cinematic. That would have been perfect. So right now we're not going to be using any of the frames, and it's actually not that much neither. Now we do also have stickers as well. So stickers also a nice sort of fun thing to have, because now you can have full control over them. So you can place them anywhere you want to. You can move up, down, left and right. It's up to you. Sticker rotation. You can rotate the sticker. You can also change the scale of it as well. So make it into like a nice little badge on the bottom right or bottom top right of the photo. Okay. There we go. All right, and there's so many different stickers to go for, so we're gonna choose that later on. You can also change the scale of it as well, and yeah, that's about it for the photo mode. Honestly, there's nothing else left to you know, kind of go through in terms of the features of the photo mode. It's very bare boned, and I wish there was more to it, but hopefully there might be like a future update, who knows. But guys, let's get straight into taking a really good photo. Alright guys, so it's time to look for a great location so we can take that stunning photo that we're earning for. Alright, so we're going to progress on this trail, and we're going to see all these different bushes around. It's very, very important you look for a great scenery, you know, because last thing you want is to take the perfect photo, but then the scenery is kind of like whack, you know. So I found this area here which looks absolutely stunning. Look at all of this, not greenery, but like orangey. But anyways, look, I think this is a great location. All right, we have a nice background here. Okay, we can either stand like right here, or we can just go in the middle of the bush. Okay, I think it's pretty good if we just stand right here. Okay, now a really nice tip when it comes to taking photos is that if you want Naue to look in a different direction, hold down L2, she'll be aiming, and when you're aiming you can point to the left, or you can point to the right, you can point downwards, or you can point upwards. All right, this is a great way to let her look at a direction so it looks a bit more authentic when you're taking a picture. Now, while we're holding down L2, we're going to press L3 and R3 to get straight into photo mode. So let's do that. We're going to try and get a nice picture because these orangey leaves look really, really nice. Now we're going to try and take a picture of her in the background. All right. Now we can see that there's some leaves right here. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to use the focal length. We're going to go straight into Naue's face. Okay. This allows us to zoom in without losing any of the quality. Now, if we can find a nice location. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Ooh. All right. This is great. This is perfect. All right. Now, yeah, the focal length allows you to zoom in using the actual photo mode's lens without having to lose any quality. Now we're going to zoom all the way in, all right, as much as we can. I'm going to move the camera to the right a little bit. And now you see the first line of the rule of thirds. We're gonna line that up with her eyes, okay? Because we want that to be aligned properly, okay? And now, because this photo looks really, really good, we need some depth of field. So if you go straight to the lens, let's turn on depth of field, okay? Once we adjust the aperture, we want to focus on Naue, okay? Now, if you're having a hard time with focusing on that, don't worry, okay? That's where the focal distance comes in handy, okay? So if you was to move the focal lens to her, okay, or you can, you know, make it, you know, focus on the leaves if you want to. Right, so if you make it focus on her, okay. Ooh, there we go. Ooh, okay, that's a little... Ooh, there we go. Alright, perfect, there we go. So if you make the camera focus on her, you can see that the leaves are blurred out. I think this is a great look, especially when you're about to take a picture, okay? Because it makes it seem like if you're, you know, looking at her from a distance, which we pretty much are, but it gives it a really nice sort of portrait effect, depth to the image itself. Now, sometimes you don't want the leaves to be blurred out as much, so that's okay. We can change the f-stop, okay? Which is the aperture, okay? So you don't have to make it as blurry as it was before, all right? But for this, we're gonna probably put it about f-stop 16 maybe. Yeah, f-stop 16 looks really, really good. Okay, and we're gonna turn on film grain, all right, because I like the effect. Okay, and now the colors look a bit washed out. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the brightness. We're gonna turn that down a little bit, or maybe turn it up a little bit. Go to exposure. All right, turn that down. We're gonna go to temperature and make that a bit blue. So we turn the temperature to the left hand side. I do like the blue effect. Tint, we're gonna turn it to the left so it gives it a little bit more of a purplish look. Saturation, we're gonna crank that up, all right, to about 15. And then contrast, we're gonna turn that up to about 10, all right. Now, if you want to, you can turn on filters, okay? And you can auto adjust the colors if you want to, which is always a nice way to kind of get a nice look to it. Contrast looks really, really good, but it's a bit saturated, so let's turn it down a little bit. All right, turn it down to about 20. I think 20 actually looks pretty decent. And then we're gonna go straight to the frames, well, stickers, all right, and let's put on Naue. All right, let's move that to the left hand side. All right, what would be nice if we turn this up, crank this up. Oh, move this to the side here, so it's in the middle of the rules of third, sorry. All right, and now we've got this really, really stunning picture of Naue, which we can then press the share button on your DualSense controller, and then you can share it with your friends and family, maybe your, you know, social media buddies if you want to, or you know what, why don't you create a page with tons of your photo mode pictures on there. Now, this is just one of the photos I'd like to showcase to you. Let's check out a different type of photo. All right, guys, so we found another nice location, which is just in the same lane, but we can see we have some God rays just at the top there, which looks absolutely stunning. All right, this is gonna be a killer photo. So as you can see, the sunlight is shining on Naue's hair. It's gleaming on her, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Now, remember the technique I showed you before? L2, aim, and look to the sky. We're gonna press L3 and R3. Hopefully she's not gonna be blinking. All right, let's see if she's perfect. Yes, but you know what, let's move forward a little bit. There we go. Nice. Okay, that looks perfect. Nice. Okay, so how about we take a photo like this? okay? Perspectives, all right? Perspective is such an important thing to think about when it comes to taking photos, because perspectives gives you different character to it. So from what I've learned, if you have the camera low looking upwards, it's giving you a very hero looking pose. So it kind of looks like a superhero looking up to the skies for hope and such, like Superman. Yeah, that's what I mean by characteristics with perspectives, okay? And with this one, it's kind of like a hero pose. But instead of capturing Naoe's face, we're going to capture her from the behind, okay, looking into the sun. Now, I think this image is going to be pretty good, especially with the trees kind of reflecting the light. Now, bear in mind, I am playing this on fidelity mode, so, you know, I am going to be getting the ray trace global illumination, so the sun is really, you know, reflecting on everything. I do advise everyone to go straight to fidelity mode if you want to get the best photos, as well as the resolution being 4K anyways. But anyways, first of all, we're gonna go to focal length, all right? We're gonna turn that all the way down. That allows us to kind of broaden out the shot a little bit so we can see more in the photo itself. Now, there's two ways you can capture this photo, all right? I don't know if you just noticed it a while ago. You can have it like this, where her shoe or her foot is on the bottom left part of the photo. Now you can put her foot in the middle of that square on the bottom left and point upwards, all right? So it's a little bit like that. The issue with this photo is that I don't think everything is lined up properly, and that's okay, because sometimes you need to kind of move away from the rule of thirds, because the rule of thirds is not really going to, you know, guide you in everything, but it's a good way to focus on that first, and then you can make adjustments. So with this photo, it's very outside of the rule of third. However, it does look absolutely stunning. All right. So get that perspective work in, and you can get a really good photo. Now with this photo, we're going to go to depth of field, turn that on, go to aperture. But what we're going to do is we want to turn that aperture down as little as possible. We don't want the photo to be completely sharp, but we just want a little bit of blur in the background, okay? Now, if you go on to focal length, okay, you can turn on where you want the blur to be. Now, as you can see a while ago, I just made the blur hit Naoe, but what we want to do is make the blur touch the trees. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, I think that should be good. I think this is really nice. It gives a little bit of a subtle depth of field to it. Nothing too crazy. Sometimes you don't need that. Now, do we want the grains on? You know what? Yeah, a little bit of grains look nice, especially for this type of photo. Adds that sort of film sort of look to it. Gonna go straight to filters. All right. Now you can have it on black and white, which looks epic as hell. But I love the cold. Ooh, the warm looks nice. God damn, Sakura. Mate, some of these photos look so good, man. Contrast looks really nice, but you know what? I do love the cold. The cold looks so gloomy and like, I don't know, it's just giving me like a really like a vampire-ish look, you know. Now if we turn up the exposure, all right, get that light in. Temperature, yeah, temperature's right. All right, let's turn that up just a little bit to about 40. Tint, we don't want it to be too tinted, but we do want to add a little bit of green to it, okay? So I'm putting the tint to about 6. Okay, so we still keep the gloominess, but add in a little bit of green. Saturation, you don't want it to be too saturated, all right, but let's put it to about -10. Okay, contrast, turn that up to about 20. All right, and there we have it. Okay, it's up to you if you want to put the Vignette on. As you already know, I'm not the biggest fan of Vignette, but I think for this might actually look pretty decent. Okay, so let's put that on about 10%. Frames, forget about the frames, we don't need that, honestly. Stickers, you know what? We're not gonna put a sticker on this one. We're just gonna leave it as that. What do you guys think? epic photo or not? Let me know in the comment section down below. I think this is absolutely fantastic. And we're going to take that picture with the capture button on your DualSense. Perfect. Now, I did realize I said I was going to show you 2 ways of taking this one photo. And I think this is the better way of taking the photo. Okay. And I'm pretty excited to showcase this to you guys. So, keeping this setting, okay, we want to keep this setting because it's perfect. Go to camera roll, okay? Now, again, like I said, this is moving way outside of the rules of thirds, but forget about that for now. We're going to go a bit more advanced, okay? Now, as you can see, when we take this picture landscape, we can't see the sun. We need to see the sun, guys. So what we're going to do, we're going to roll the camera. All right? Roll the camera until you see where the tree is, the one that's dead in the middle. Make that line up with the center of the rules of third, okay? Okay. And now we're going to move the camera out a little bit. Okay. All right. And we're going to move the camera. Ooh, okay. You know what? The worst thing about photo mode in any game is that it does clash with the ground if you're trying to go super, super low. So we're going to ignore what I just said a while ago. And we're going to maybe zoom in a little bit. Okay. Let's make the tree touch the bottom line. Okay. I think that looks really, really good as a different perspective. Now, remember what I told you about the depth of field? Now, we can make the depth of field as blurry as we want to now because we are not really focusing too much on the sunlight as we did with the first photo. Now, play around with the depth of field. Okay, look at this. Look at what I've just created a while ago. Okay, now because the background is more blurry, it makes it look even more dark, a bit more scary. Okay, a bit more gloomy. Now, if you look at the grass on the bottom, that also is slightly blurred out, especially on the bottom right corner. But the middle, super crisp. Now, crisp. Background, blurry. All right. And it blurs the sun rays as well. So it looks really, really gloomy. Now, I think this is a great photo and we should take this picture. There's another way you can take this picture, and that's by making it into a mobile wallpaper. Now, I think a lot of people kind of want to do this. They just don't know how to do it. And it's very, very simple. Okay. We're going to go straight back to camera roll. And we're going to rotate this all the way to the top. Okay, which should be what, 90 degrees? There we go. Okay, this is going to look confusing as hell. So you might want to rotate your head so you can see what the image looks like when you're taking the picture. Now, if we hide the menu, all right, this is what we're going to get. Now, as you can probably hear from my voice, I am rotating my my head just so we can get a better photo. But thankfully, the perspective that we originally had looks really good like this. I don't think I need to change this. Maybe what I'll do is turn down the depth of field a little bit, just so we can focus on Naoe's head a little bit. But that is also really, really perfect. So let's take a picture. Let's move on to our next location and let's see what else we can do. Alright guys, so this is going to be the last example that I'm going to be showcasing to you guys, and this is more of a simple one, okay? Because sometimes you don't want to do anything too complex, alright? So this is a really nice but effective way to really make your picture stand out, okay? Now, we've just found this little field right here, nice and green, the sun is shining, okay? But what we want to do is rotate the camera around, alright? Just make Naoe be as idle as possible. Alright, get into position, press L3 and R3. Okay, now we're going to be as free as possible as we want to. Okay, you can see all the nice sceneries here. Okay, and there's no one around besides me as the cameraman and Naoe. Okay, now if we was to bring the camera a bit low, alright, in fact we moved the camera out, put the focal length to about, well, as close as you want it to be. Okay, bring the camera a little bit low, All right, let's see what we can get in the background here. Yeah, okay. Look at that. Look at that. Simple, but effective. Okay. Now remember the rule of thirds. Okay. Make sure that the figure of Nawe is in the middle of the line on the right hand side. Preview that. That looks like a stunning photo on its own. A bit too basic. So we're going to go straight into the depth of field. All right. Or you know what you could do is just turn on autofocus. And as you can see, it would just purely focus on Nawe. But I think that's a bit too effective. So we're going to turn that down a little bit. Okay. Turn that down a little bit. Turn on the film. Do we want to turn on film grain? Do we? Nah, you know what? For this one, let's turn it off. Okay. Go to FX filters and let's see what we can use from here. The blue looks really good. That looks really good. Looks like a postcard. But any of those doesn't really match what I want. So let's check out the filters. Okay, even still, the filter's not really doing it for me. I do like the contrasted one though. But I think we're gonna deal without the filters. Okay. Turn up the exposure a little bit. You can turn up the brightness if you want to, but I do want a more darker image. Temperature, let's move that down to about 10. Okay. Tint. Turn that up. Oh, actually no. You know what? Let's turn that down to about 5, -5. Saturation, let's turn it down a little bit. We don't want it to be as saturated as like our previous photos. So maybe about -20. Contrast, you want contrast to be up. All right, so let's move that up to about 30. I think 30 looks really good. And now we can put on our stickers. Once again, we want to keep it to the assassins. Okay, let's put that down to the bottom left. Oh, let's make that tiny. All right, and this is a nice little wallpaper for your laptops, maybe for your mobile phones, which you can also rotate the image itself. All right, let's preview that, and I think that looks fantastic. Let's take a picture right there. Now, before we end this video, let's go into camera roll. Let's rotate this. And as you can see, the grass is starting to reveal itself. We could actually take this for an advantage. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. We might want to move the rule of third to her eye. Well, you know what? Let's ignore the rules, right? Let's put her head in the middle of the rule of third. All right. That looks absolutely stunning. However, we want to turn the crest around and leave that to the top. All right. Yeah. Take a picture. So guys, that has been my photo mode tutorial for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Use some of the tips I've shown you guys and let me see your work on my socials. So follow me on Instagram or on Threads. Okay, show me your work. I want to know. I want to see everyone's work. I'm really intrigued by everyone's results. You know, it's such a fun thing to have in these video games now, to do virtual photography. And I'm someone that does a lot of photography on its own anyway, so this is fantastic for me. But guys, thank you for watching my video. I've got my other photo mode tutorial videos on Horizon, Stellar Blade, Tomb Raider, and I'm hoping to do a Spider-Man one soon as well. But let me know in the comment section down below if this helped you out, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Take it easy and peace.